In 1915, the twins at 18 years old traveled to Los Angeles, California to help build up the ministry. They worked with the church women such as Mother Millie Crawford, Sister Julia Gamble, and many others. They were very, very committed. Mary and Martha organized the first YPWW, young people willingly working in Los Angeles, California to help and encourage the young to be of service. They traveled on from Los Angeles in 1915 to Kansas City, Missouri, where they visited with Elder Barker, who gave them the privilege to teach the Word. They also organized the first YPWW Union meeting in Kansas City at Elder Miller's mission on Lydia Street. They traveled on to Mobley, Missouri, where they served as evangelists and held street revivals and tent meetings that held 500 people, bringing many souls to the Lord. Traveling on to St. Louis, Missouri, where they were made overseers of the YPWW in Elder Basti's district. Then on to Newport, Illinois, Providence, Kentucky, then Hannibal, Missouri, doing a beautiful work, spreading the gospel. In the twins' travels, they struck up romantic interests that became serious. In 1922, the twins, Mary and Martha, had a double twin wedding in St. Louis, Missouri. It made the newspaper there. Mary Renfro exchanged vows with Brother Percy Wallace. Martha was married to Elder Albert Pinkston. Percy and Mary were going on to settle in Jacksonville, Illinois. Albert and Martha desired to work in the area of Hannibal, Missouri. Percy was born James Percy Wallace in Birmingham, Alabama on October 17, 1893. His father was Joseph Wallace and his mother was Carrie Spencer. His mother and father did not stay together, so Carrie soon moved to St. Louis, Missouri, where she stayed with her mother. Percy was a very talented young boy, and as he grew into manhood, he dropped his first name James. He was a comedian, tap dancer, and a very good piano player. He was always close to his mother. He was also close to his grandmother and his aunts. They were very spiritual people involved with the church. As Percy grew older, he also became involved with the church. World War I was going in full force in Europe. America was neutral at first, but was drawn into the conflict and entered the war on April 6, 1917. Percy was eventually inducted into the Army on July 17, 1918, at the age of 24. After the tough, rigorous training in boot camp, he was assigned to serve with the 2nd Company, 4th Battalion, 164th Depot Brigade. When the war ended, on November 11, 1918, the whole world was at last relieved. It was finished, and they celebrated Armistice Day. However, Percy never made it to the battlefield. He served out his enlistment honorably and was happy to be discharged on March 15, 1919. He had done his part and was very glad to be aboard a train on his way back home to St. Louis. Percy got into full gear with his entertainment career and traveled on the vaudeville circuit. It was sometime in this period that he met Mary Renfro, and he was dancing with Bill Robinson. He and Bill had plans to go out to Hollywood to make it big in the movies. However, Percy made a decision to totally give his life to God and marry his sweetheart, Mary Renfro. Bill Robinson, after his own marriage in 1922, did go and became famous as Bojangles. Percy and Mary, arriving in Jacksonville, Illinois, went about spreading the gospel on street corners, tent meetings, and Bible studies. In the Church of God in Christ 1922 yearbook, the twins, Mary and Martha, are pictured and listed as diligent workers. Albert Pinkston is pictured and listed as pastor of churches in Providence, Kentucky, and Hannibal, Missouri. Also in 1922, the Church of God in Christ, headed by Bishop Mason, was acquiring a new national headquarters in Memphis, Tennessee. Percy and Mary Wallace had their first child on December 26, 1922. Mary Martha Wallace, Mom Mary, was born in Jacksonville, Illinois. She was very energetic, very bright, quick in expressing her many different talents. February 21st, 1924, in Jacksonville, James Percy Wallace Jr. was born. He had such an intelligent look. July 19th, 1925, John H. Wallace was born in Jacksonville, bubbling with curiosity. In Kewanee, Illinois, Peter Hilton Wallace, born January 7th, 1928, was bright and paid attention to everything. January 29th, 1929, Joanna Wallace, a beautiful and talented girl, their last child, was born. Peter and Joanna were always close when they were young. In this period, the twins' older sister, Nancy Renfro Garth, standing on the right, passed away from tuberculosis. Her 3 children, Nellie Mae, Herman, and Alonzo, were split up. Mary kept Nellie Mae, the oldest, and Martha kept the 2 boys till they were old enough to go out on their own. The family lived at 519 Southwest Street in Jacksonville. They opened a food stand in front of the house to sell sandwiches, pop, watermelons, and other items. Little Mary Martha loved to watch as the circus came down the street. Percy became a minister, going out spreading the word. He also worked for the railroad as a Pullman porter, which would keep him away from home a great deal of time. He would send money and send postcards. Grandma, Chris Renfro, now lived with them to care for the children because Mary and Martha were evangelizing throughout the area. Mary Martha began to travel with the twins, doing songs and poems and at many of their revivals. She loved it. In 1930, the family moved to Aurora, Illinois, 1024 Kane Street. Martha and Albert Pinkston also moved there and lived in the church mission they opened next door to the house. The Pinkstons eventually got a house at 1040 Pond Street to live in. The twins set up soup kitchens all over the towns in the area during the Depression and worked with families to help them get on their feet. They held many revivals and went to the streets to help uplift and bring people to the Lord. This was a very trying period for America due to so many people being out of work because of a poor economy from the stock market crash. The children, they went to grammar school in Aurora and did well. Mary Martha was singing and dancing and playing the piano. James Jr. was playing the harmonica at 10. In 1935, Mary Wallace became very sick and was getting worse. She had tuberculosis. It was very prevalent in the early 1900s and claimed many lives. She went to stay with Martha away from the children, and Martha cared for her the best she could. She departed and went to heaven August 4th, 1936. The family was in mourning. The children were without their mother.